Wednesday morning.
Morning.
A little different setup. You guys may not be able to tell, except where we're looking. No computer here. So maybe that'll work for us. We got Jenny on. That's cool.
Morning, Jenny.
Good to see you. We actually do see you, or we see a couple of dogs in a little round circle. So gosh, yeah, we were just talking about our youth group starts back up tonight. I was fully expecting you to wear this shirt.
Yeah, I should have.
Yeah. So because we end up wearing the same stuff a lot. Good morning, Bethany. So we start back with our youth tonight. It's just a fun time, just fellowship and games and food and.
Tell Sam we'll miss him, Beth.
Yeah. Too bad he couldn't hang out here to the end. You guys probably start school back soon, I'm guessing.
Pretty quick.
Ours start back today. Crazy. Nuts. But this is a week later than normal. So.
Summer's over.
I know. Let's get our coffee to steel ourselves for tonight.
Oh, they're good guys. We'll enjoy it.
It'll be fun. The study this year is going to be amazing. It'll be interesting to kind of see how the kids react to that, but they start next Wednesday.
Okay. Cool.
It's read scripture. You know what I'm talking about?
Is it the one where he
draws while he talks?
Yeah, you showed them one and they were captivated.
So yeah, this is awesome. So the one we're doing, this is on Right Now Media. So Bethany, you guys may want to look at this, but it's called Read Scripture, and it is
starts with a blank screen, and the picture is drawn on as he tells a story. It goes completely through the Bible.
It's an overview of the Bible. So it's fun. We're going to have to adapt a little to get it in, because if you know there are 66 books in the Bible, there aren't 66 weeks.
Does he do a book a session, or?
I think 1st, 2nd, 3rd John are maybe together.
Okay.
I planned it out, but I'll tell you my idea for catching up.
Okay. Then we'll need to catch up. That's
it. But it is like really good. The guy, I skipped ahead to see how he treats Revelation. Some of the hard ones in there. Corwin, good morning, and he handles them really well. So we're going from Genesis to Revelation. It'll be a really good overview.
I like his approach in general. It's conversational and it's a little humorous.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So perfect for the youth, I think.
Mm-hmm. I think it's great for adults. I enjoy watching them myself, but it'll be way cool. So I'm excited about that. What we're going to do for the youth retreat in October, I believe that is scheduled for, is Reasonable Faith, which is where we're stealing the stuff from. So I thought if we're going to use the stuff for Reasonable Faith, we'll go ahead and use the title for the retreat. Yeah. And it is it's short little videos that help you know how to handle some of the questions in faith.
Fantastic.
How to defend your faith. So that'll be good.
Apologetics and proof of the gospel.
Yep. Yeah, that'll be the fall retreat.
That's right down my alley. I love that stuff.
I do too. And these videos are really good, and they're all available online. So we'll give them that access too, so they can, if nothing else, tell their friend, "Oh, hey, there's a cool video. Yeah. Watch this."
Yeah. Wait. Let me show you.
Yeah. Watch this video. Then we can talk.
I don't know if I told you I had opportunity to talk from Steve Meyer's point of view to some friends and family when we were in Florida, and it was an exciting and rewarding time.
Oh, good.
It was really cool. I'll tell you about it later.
Okay, that's awesome. I'm looking whenever I get a notification just to make sure we. Only a few hop on today. I guess we must have bored them to death on Monday. So
yeah. Beverly said she'd be here if she could get on her computer.
Yeah. So. I got the notification, so thank you guys for hopping on. So the message on Sunday shake people up just a little bit.
I like the way you phrased it. You're
Um,
not a church unless you're doing what a church does.
so here's the we're doing a short little series because it's been 2 years. We got a lot of new people in the last 2 years, trying to help. Our theme for this past year, well, still is to re-engage, and kind of felt like some people have kind of pulled away a bit over COVID. I don't know. Are they still calling it a pandemic?
I don't believe so.
I don't. I just quit listening.
Yeah, it's out of the news. It's old news now.
So. Yeah. Well, there's still a war in Ukraine, but they don't talk about that either.
I know.
So, anyways, yeah, the news cycle is nuts. I mean, if it's got to be new to be news. Otherwise, it's
Brand news.
olds, I guess. So. Just kind of felt like some people pulling away. So I thought I'd go back to the ABCs of FBC Cloudcroft. So attend, believe, connect, or attend, believe, commit. Attend, golly.
And you took the S off the end. I like that.
I did. I did the ABCs of, trying to do the ABCs of VBS right now, but that's not what we're doing. Attend, belong, commit is what we're talking about.
Commit to serve and
share. Yeah, that kind of took care of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Good job.
So here's the big idea. The big idea is the church is only the church when it's functioning as the church. And
what's the biblical definition of a church functioning?
Yeah. And the good picture we get, and it was the one we looked at, was Acts 2:42. So there's a group called 9 Marks, and they would say there's 9 marks of a church, and they give good biblical reasons for that a church should be doing these 9 things for it to be a church. We're not going to get into that as much. The big point that I wanted to press into was what I heard a whole lot, and I get it, but I think I've seen and am seeing the effect of this way of thinking. Is it's true when we say the church isn't the building, the church is the people. But what that began to kind of become during the social isolation and what they call it, social distancing, but it was isolation really, is I'm the church all by myself out in the forest because I have the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, it can be church singular.
Yeah, that I am the church.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely not true biblically. You aren't the church.
We.
Yeah. The church, and I took probably longer than some people might have liked, but explaining the language. So let me just try to hit that real quick here, really quickly, if I want to use proper English, since I'm talking about language. The word church, it took her a while to find the new site. Should be the same. Maybe.
No, not the new site. She's working with a new computer.
Oh, okay. I was like,
yeah.
I hope we're streaming to the same place.
Good morning, sweetheart.
Glad to have you on. Thanks for jumping in. So the word church that we have in English is not translated from a Greek word of the language of the New Testament. The word church we have in English is translated from a German word.
And so whoever translated it from German translated it from the Greek?
So no, here's what happened along about, I think it was 500 AD. So early on, German became one of the theological languages. In fact, if you want to get your PhD in theology, you pretty well have to take German.
Okay.
I like languages, but not that much. So, no offense, Manuel. Who's coming in a week? He's coming in on Saturday. We'll see him on 19th.
Yeah.
But so the theological language, German is one of those, and so they took the German word Kirche, which means the Lord's house, Okay, and that the German word came from something else that they were using. They just started from a Greek phrase. That's where the German word came from.
Okay.
Um, but so that's where we get the word church, and then we confuse it even more in English in that, hey, I'll meet you at the church. What time is church? And we're the church.
Yeah.
You
To put
know.
new windows in the church.
Yeah. So we think of it as a building. We think of it as a worship service, and we also think of it as the local group, First Baptist Church.
Okay.
So we confuse it even further, but just know that word church wasn't translated from English. I'm sorry, from Greek to English. It was translated from German to English. The word that Jesus used, or the word in the Greek, is ecclesia, not kirche. It's ecclesia. That word means gathering or assembly.
When you said that in church the other day, Bev leaned over to me and went,
Hear all the people. And so Jesus, it really the root of the word means call out. So they would call people out for, and that calling out then became an assembly, and so gathering or assembly. Congregation is a good word, except in English now we have different ideas of congregation, what that means. Um, so it's a gathering. So when Jesus says, "My assembly," on this, Peter, I will build my assembly in the gates of hell. It's gathering, group, tribe, if you want to kind of stretch it a little bit.
so on this truth I will build my assembly.
Yes, is what he was telling Peter.
Right.
That you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. Right. So, so I say all that to say, because most people don't care much about the language, but if you think of it, that it means gathering or assembly,
Then you got to
it sounds silly to say that I alone am the gathering.
Right.
That just like with baptism, the word for baptism from Greek means immerse.
And that's why we dunk them.
Yeah, we don't. Here, I immerse you by sprinkling water. I mean, it sounds silly because that's not what the word means. And so
when it rains here, some days I feel immersed.
Yeah. Well, we got a good one the other day.
Mm.
Kathy hopped on. Good morning, Kathy.
Morning.
So that's the idea. And so here's pressing into it a little bit more. And here's where people tend to give a little bit of pushback. And I get it. But you need to understand that you alone can't be the church. That an individual believer is not the church.
Right.
In any sense. There are two senses of that word church. Of 90% of the time or more in the New Testament, the word church or gathering is referring to a local gathering of believers. The church in Jerusalem, the church in Ephesus, the churches in Galatia.
Okay.
So
when you're saying that you're not a church unless you're functioning at a church, you're saying the function of the church is a group effort.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not an individual person. I defined it something like this, as a gathering of believers committed to God and to one another to carry out the Great Commission.
So, and excuse me for
No.
If that's true, then what is it that a group can do that an individual cannot?
Almost everything in the Bible that the church is supposed to do. So I'll throw one out there. Jesus, and we look at this as a church discipline thing. That's not really the idea behind the passage. That's where it leads. But in Matthew chapter 18, if your brother sins against you, go to your brother. If you win him over, you've got your brother.
Okay.
If he doesn't listen, get one or two more and go. If he doesn't listen even to them, tell it to the church.
Okay.
And if he doesn't listen to the church, now the two ideas of church is 90+% of the time in the New Testament is talking about the local gathering.
Right.
Ephesus, Jerusalem, Galatia. But there is also the sense of all believers of all time, the church, Big C.
Okay.
And I would assert that we're not even a part of that church yet until heaven. It's a gathering. It's an assembly. We're not going to be assembled until we're in heaven.
Okay. We could still be a piece of Big C.
Yeah, that
but not the church Big C entirely until heaven.
is not going to happen until heaven.
Right.
Well, it's not right now. We're not all gathered together, all believers of all time.
Right.
Some
but
have already
you don't
passed.
have to have 100% of the people who belong to this church to have a gathering of the church here either. So it could be a partial gathering of the Big C, but not.
Could be, but
okay.
It's not really going. It can't function.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
It's not going to. That church isn't really going to happen until heaven.
Got it.
That's when we'll all be part of the Big C church.
Got it.
We're part of it now. But anyways,
yeah.
So this idea of that people kind of run into. I'm messing with this here because I haven't quite figured out all the. I don't want the computer to go to sleep on us. So. But people kind of think that, and I've seen this a whole lot more with COVID and the consequences of COVID, is that people thinking, well, I'm the church, so if I'm the church, I can be the church anywhere. I don't have to gather together.
Right.
When
I was talking about what can the group do that an individual can't, one of the big things is gathering together to encourage each other.
That's it. Well, Hebrews, the one that pastors always want to go to, chapter 10, verse 25, says, "Don't forsake the gathering of yourself together." That comes from kind of that same word. The gathering of yourself together is a habit of some, but encourage one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. So, encouraging one another, holding one another accountable, confessing to one another, all those things that you see that the church is supposed to be about. Has to happen as a church.
Okay.
Go now to 1 Corinthians chapter 12, where Paul talks about spiritual gifts, that you are individually members of the body. And Paul goes to great lengths. That's the church, the local church he's talking to. In fact, every letter Paul wrote was to a local church, well, except for the individuals. But 1st and 2nd Corinthians was to the church in Corinth. The letter of Galatians was to the churches in Galatia.
Even Timothy was to the church he was in charge of.
Ephesus. So yeah, all of those are written to specific churches, and all of the admonishments given were for the churches individually, the local group of believers, gathering of believers to carry out. So we have to do that. And Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 12 goes to great lengths to help us to understand that if you cut your hand off and put it over there, it's not the body anymore. It's going to be a dead piece of flesh before very long.
Part of the body.
And a hand can't say, I'm the body. It's a part of the body, and it can only function within the context of the body. That's the whole. In 1 Corinthians chapter 12, we look at it as spiritual gifts and stuff, but that's really what Paul's kind of talking about. Is that we cannot function apart from the body, and again, that's the local gathering of believers, not church Big C. So that's what I wanted to really kind of get across, because as we head into the ABCs of FBC Cloudcroft, these things that we're talking about, attending, belonging, and committing, that's not just so that we can boost our numbers and stuff as a local church. That's just what it is to be the church.
Well, for the health of the body and the health of the individual.
That's right.
That's what it was designed for.
That's right. I've teased you a lot about this, and you take it really well, but I've nicknamed him Little Jimmy 9 3/4 because he's missing a piece, not the whole knuckle, but that thing isn't functioning anymore, is it?
Not as a finger, no.
It's gone.
I have to pick my nose with this one.
Well, you can look a lot better with the other one. It looks like you're digging deep. But it's that way with believers. And I know that especially where we are in the Southwest, it's rugged individualism. That part of that is just being American, but it's even more so where we live. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. I can stand on my own 2 feet. You've heard pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I don't even know how that works, by the way. Especially when I can't hardly bend over and grab my bootstraps anymore.
I can't find it.
But in this era, this day and age and culture, really, in America, of rugged individualism, we have to remember that an individual believer is not the church. That sounds crazy because of what I've heard a lot during COVID, but even before then, when you say an individual believer is not the church, that doesn't it kind of like, wait, no,
Yeah.
yes, I am.
It's not saying that an individual person is not a Christian, but he's not a part of the church.
Well, he's not the church.
Yeah.
We are the church. Because that I am not the gathering. We are the gathering.
Yeah.
We
That
are
makes
the assembly.
Perfect sense.
This group that's called together for a particular purpose. That's really at the heart of what that word ecclesia means. A group assembled together for a particular purpose.
So the encouragement would be, no matter what body you belong to, get involved, become a functioning part.
Yeah, and now here we are, digital. I'm including digital in that because that was our thing 2 years ago. Our theme, rethink everything, and we're pushing in. We will more this year even. So it's proven to be more difficult than I thought to make digital the same as physical. But even in that, we still have to do the ABCs. We still have to attend, even if it's digital. We still have to attend. We have to belong to a small group, and we have to commit to serve and share. And our thing that is on us as a church is to figure out how that can happen in a purely digital sense.
Right. And excuse me for maybe disagreeing, but I don't think it has to be exactly like in person, but it has to be able to serve the same avenues. It has to be able to commit, has to be able to belong, has to be able to.
So I'll leak to you guys because you guys are the chosen few. The theme for this coming year is reconnect.
Oh, okay.
So and that's really what we're going to work on hard with the digital. You have to be able to connect relationally.
That's tougher digitally.
For digital to be the same as physical.
Yeah.
Because with that relational connection, you can't be a part of the gathering.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and I know that's hard for some of you that are only digital, and part of that is us. We need to make ways that you can do that. I know almost all the time whenever I talk about a new study, what we get during Java and Jesus is it going to be online too?
Yeah.
So we're going to work hard to make that happen. I'm really going to work hard to make that parenting generation screen. One of the hardest things we can do technologically is the hybrid, in person and online.
And I think in today's culture, whether it's in person, online, or hybrid, it's hard. Mm-hmm. It's just a difficult task to stay connected.
We do have to reconnect, so that's why that's going to be the theme for this next year. Men's Bible study was cool last night. We had a lot of guys hadn't been there for a little bit. My cousin's going to jump in. He's not here this morning.
Still stuck in the traffic?
Well, you might be. Gosh, I looked, and in Fort Worth, everyone was saying it was a tornado, but we would call it a dirt devil here. They call it a gustado.
Gustado.
They could. Meteorologists, don't make up words, okay? Just don't make up words. But it didn't have the same. For them, they can say why it's different than a tornado, but so I guess it won't take your truck. It'll just take the roof off your truck.
Well, rabbits again, but I think a tornado comes down from the clouds, and a gustado goes from the ground up into the clouds. Or
gustado they call it.
Gustado.
Yeah, we call them dirt devils here. But man, I've seen them throw. I've seen them dirt devil take away a trampoline before. Yeah. It'll sure take care of your lawn furniture. But anyhow, so we have to find ways to do that, and a lot of that is on us as a church. So I'm still kicking this around. I've got until September 12th to figure out the parenting thing. But what I may do is do the one in person, and I haven't decided yet, and then have a separate one that is purely online. So everybody's online. You experience the hybrid from a different viewpoint than I do because I'm here, um, and I don't. Do you get the? We've been doing that for two plus years now.
Mhm.
So do you get the same sense of camaraderie and fellowship?
I do, and one thing that helps with that, every week in the class I get it, but it really helps when at the end of a study we do a fellowship, and you get to shake hands with those
In
guys
person.
that you see online. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
So
really ties it together.
okay. My my suspicion is that you feel left out of quite a bit.
Only the munchies.
I
Man,
was
last
gonna
night,
say.
that was horrible.
So we had someone that had the channel. I don't know what that is. Hello. Um, I don't know who you are, but hello,
Hi.
good morning, welcome. And there we go.
No signal. There we are.
Back. I don't know what's happening. What the deal? So yeah, someone had like a bunch of. So we brought plates of. We had cream
Little
puffs
muffins.
and two different kinds of muffins, and so we had that here because we do it in a conference room, and then we Zoom guys in. So whenever we have munchies here,
I know. I'm
that
sitting at
doesn't
my
translate over.
sitting at my little desk at home eating peanuts and raisins,
But
looking at this feast.
but you know the amazing thing, Doug, who usually joins us online unless he's traveling, um, he is so cool. He will make cookies and then bring some so that we can have some here.
I made a joke about him doing that, and he delivered some to my house.
You show me.
Super guy.
So we want to press into that. We really want to make digital as much as we can the same as physical.
Yeah.
What I said 2 years ago in our theme, Rethink Everything, is we need to think of digital as the same as physical. And the idea behind that is we need to put as much emphasis into that as we do the physical,
Right.
as much thought and effort and work to engage and connect. So we're going to work really hard this coming year, 2023, on doing that and reconnecting, really kind of reconnecting people. So to start off this series in the ABCs of FBC Cloudcroft, I wanted to begin with the church. What is the church? Our working definition for the church is a gathering of believers committed to God and to one another to carry out the Great Commission. So that's not the only definition. It's certainly not.
Good start.
Yeah, it's not the word's not
All
comprehensive.
All inclusive.
Yeah. It's terrible. We're at the age where we got to search for words anymore. It's not a comprehensive definition, but it's a good working definition for this series. So we're gonna continue in the series. It's only got three more to go.
A, B, and C.
Yeah, and unless I do C part 1 and C part 2, I might have to do that. So 3 or 4 more sessions in this. Well, thanks for jumping in. Love to have you guys on. We will see you. I'll get Paul in, and we'll talk about some of the practical parts.
How we do that
of this. Yeah, I always save that stuff for him. Practical parts of how we do this when we come together on Friday. Cool. So let me pray for you guys. Send you out into your week. We're halfway through the week. That's crazy. I can't hardly keep up with days anymore. Yesterday I kept thinking it was Wednesday.
I did too.
Did you?
I almost texted you to say, what do I bring tonight?
Wow. I'm glad it's not just me. It's still 2022, right? Yeah. I think the answer is yes.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Cool. Let me pray for you guys. Lord, thank you for your love for us. Thank you for the way that you work in our hearts. Thank you that we do have this gathering, this group of believers, Lord, that we can gather with, and not just on a weekly basis in our worship time, but Lord, that we can do the things that you've called us to do as the church. And we can only do that together. I pray that you would connect our hearts, intertwine us. Lord, help us to be of the same heart and same mind, unified in the same purpose, and that is to lead people into a life-changing relationship with Jesus. For it's in his name we pray. Amen. Amen. Good to have you guys on today. We hope to see you on Friday and then again on Sunday. Love you guys.